Hello folks, this would usually be one of the vlogs for patrons at $3 level only, but because what I'm gonna talk about mainly affects everyone else, especially at the lower levels, I'm making it public. Plus I'm making it public on my YouTube channel, so if you're just watching from being a YouTube subscriber, in case you didn't know, is I have a Patreon running for my work at Retronator, writing articles on pixel art and developing Pixel Art Academy. And I'm making this video because Patreon recently changed the way they are charging the patrons. For you guys, things were very straightforward so far. If you wanted to pledge me $3, you would get charged at the end of the month $3. Let's say that you pledge $1 to 20 creators, you would get charged $20 at the end of the month. Super simple. For creators, it was a little bit more complicated because let's say that you pledge $3 just to me, Patreon will take their 5% out of that, and then also they will take out the transaction fee. And transaction fee can be either, if you're using Stripe, about 2% plus 30 cents, and if you're using PayPal, it's going to be 5% of the pledge plus 5 cents. Now, if you're pledging $1 to 20 people, this is where it gets complicated because Patreon is going to take 5% out, and then your transaction fee, it's going to then distribute that fee to all of those 20 patrons that you supported. So each one's going to see one slice of your fee also deducted from there. So the math for the creator is you get all of your total pledges, you guys are pledging me, you take out the 5% that Patreon gets out, and then you take out all of those kind of fee slices that you pay for each of the patrons. And the slice is bigger if you're their only creator that they're pledging to, or it could be smaller if you're just one of the many of the creators that they're pledging towards. And so what they're saying now is they've put in a new system and they want to put creators first and they want us to have predictable income. And so that's why they're saying, well, we want the creators to always get their 95%. And so what they're trying to do is get rid of the fees from that cut and put it on top of patrons so that patrons will actually have to pay that fee on top of it. Why this is a very, very nasty thing is, let's go back to our example. If you're pledging $3 to me, and so now the new structure is, doesn't matter what kind of payment processor you're using, they're gonna charge 3% plus 35 cents. So let's say that you're pledging $3. So you're gonna pay on top of that, you're gonna pay 3% of that, plus 35 cents, which works out to 43 cents extra. So you're gonna, if you want to pledge $3 to me, you're gonna pay $3.4. Now, in the case where you're pledging $1 to 20 creators, instead of just charging you one transaction fee per month, they're putting their service fee on top of every pledge. And especially for the smaller ones, this is not insignificant because for a $1 pledge, you are now going to be paying 37 cents extra. So your $1 pledge just increased by 37%. So for a patron that is pledging $1 to 20 people, now instead of $20, they're gonna have to pay $27.5. So that's an insane increase for somebody that wants to pledge $20. What they're doing is they're de-incentivizing people to pledge small amounts. And what me and a lot of people actually predict is a lot of people will drop their pledges and everyone will just end up with less money anyway. And Patreon is trying to present it very nicely as in, oh, we're trying to put creators first, like you are actually, the creators are gonna see more of your money, but the patrons now have to pay more. And the amount that they pay more, we the creators don't actually get that, but Patreon picks it up from all of the people that are paying to more creators. Because the service fee that they're charging, they apply to per pledge, whereas their actual transaction fee, they only have to pay it once per patron. So this has me thinking a lot about whether I want to support Patreon in the future. I was super happy with the company. I love what they've done so far. Like, I would really want to give Patreon the benefit of the doubt because I really liked them before, and I hope they will address this. You know, everyone that knows how to do math has pretty much been able to wonder, hey, where's this all the service fees are going per each pledge when you are only paying them per patron? Where's all this money going? Oh, it's going into your pockets. Like, what were they thinking, that we just won't see that? I mean, it's just, yeah, it's just insane. And so hopefully they will address this. Okay, so with the magic of the internet, as I was editing this video, Patreon actually just posted an update. So their reasoning is that because a lot of creators are confused about this variable fee structure, they are trying to actually make everyone pay up front. So right now the system for a patron is that you pledge at a certain point and then you only get charged at the end of the month. So you kind of have this freebie period where you can enjoy the patron stuff, and then if you wanted to, you could just cut your pledge right at the end. So they want to eliminate that, and as soon as you pledge, you get charged, and then you're gonna get charged the next month. And so they are going from this system up top where all of the people are charged at the first of the month, except some of the creators that already had this feature turned on. Now they're going down to a system where you're charged every time you pledge to somebody. So of course they're going from a system which has less fees to a lot of fees. And so because of this bigger amount of fees, they have to mitigate somehow. And so they can either offload that to creators, so they will have even more fees out, and that will make them even less happy. They could front it themselves, which they also say they can't do because their 5% is already small enough, or they can offload it to patrons, so to you guys. And so they've opted out for the last one. And so the stupid part about this whole thing is that, well, you're going from a system that has few fees to a system that has a lot of fees. Why not just fucking stick with the current system and just educate the creators about how this slice system works? It's not that hard damn math after all. Instead, they opted, well, let's simplify it by putting a fee on top of every transaction and charging patrons more, and the result is just going to be less people are going to be willing to pay for that. I mean, they're saying that they have math behind it and years of research, a year of research and everything that actually people won't. So I guess the question is we're about to see. But for me, I personally also support a lot of creators by just like a small amount. You know, it's gonna make a significant dent at the end of the month. And instead of like, if I have a budget of $30 for Patreon, like now I can just support 25 or whatever creators per month. And really, I think Patreon is making a mistake with their changes, because I understand that they want to be put creators first, but I think in this case, if they want to put creators first, they want to make things the most sensible for patrons, because patrons are actually paying money. They're the customers. The previous system was great because everyone knew how much they're pledging, how much they're paying. The creators are the one that needs to get educated on how the system works. So I don't know, and time will tell. And I also have to come up with a decision what I'm gonna do in my case. So I have a couple of options at this point. One is drop Patreon completely and maybe set up a similar subscription system just through my Retronator store. Just the normal way you would pre-order the video game, you could also pledge a monthly subscription. So if I do this and you want to pledge $1, I will still have to pay that 30-cent fee or whatever that Stripe charges, but at least you don't have to see that. Another option is also for me to lower the amount you need to pledge for each reward so that you can actually lower the pledges. So instead of the $3 level to see my vlogs and get early access, that would actually be a $2 reward now. And I'm really interested in going just along with the first, because that also, I mean, from my business standpoint, it eliminates the 5% Patreon fee that they pay. Especially for some people here that they're donating a little bigger amount of money to me, like I'm pretty sure they'd be happy to give me that 5% to me instead of to Patreon. I was always happy, you know, that Patreon takes their cut because they're making such a great platform and advocating for creators to get paid for content. I especially like that. So a nice thing of Patreon was also that I now had a blog that I was posting, because before this were only backer only updates on Kickstarter, and now I wanted to do more granular updates, you know, more on a day-to-day basis of what's going on. But if I wanted to unify people that have backed the game on Kickstarter and the new people that, you know, you guys that pledged through pre-orders and everyone that just wants to pledge through now to Patreon, I could just unify that all together if I just, you know, had my own system. And right now, before I started making this rant video, I was actually in the middle of making the new website for Retronator, which is gonna make my blog that's very hard to read, it's gonna make it into a little bit more readable experience. And one of the features I was planning to have is to have kind of a weekly edition of Retronator blog that you can subscribe to, and then you get an email every weekend of, oh, these were the biggest stories this week in pixel art. So all I would need to do extra is to create some kind of a blog post system, or I could even just use my Tumblr posts, and let's just say, fuck it, I'm just gonna use my Tumblr posts, and I can even make private Tumblr posts, which I could then convert into the ones that are here locked to, I don't know, $3 patrons. So yeah, these are my thoughts on the topic. Let me know what you guys think as well. You know, this affects you guys mainly if you're a Patreon supporter. If you're just watching on my YouTube channel, then well, it's been nice talking to you after a little bit. But yeah, I was making vlogs like this for patrons at the $3 level. You know, if you wanted to support my work, I mean, right now, I would say you can support me with Patreon. Right now, don't, because who knows what will happen. And I guess I'll come to a decision by the end of the month, because at the end of the month, this is going to take effect. So yeah, be on the lookout for more updates on this topic, and, you know, we'll make a decision based on that as well. All right, thanks so much for your support, everyone. And we'll see what road we go down in the future. Cheers.